Okay guys, is voice now clear? Please tell me. Please tell me, is the voice clear now? Okay, so moving on guys. So we have seen till now the overview of the newspaper, and we have seen that the first article is about the economy on autopilot. We'll see this particular article with respect to the examination. Then the article about regulating the artificial intelligence. So it has been said that artificial intelligence would be regulated if it will harm the users in any particular way. Okay, then in this regional section we have just the political issues, etc. Nothing much important has been given. So after that, moving on, now coming to the editorial page. So in editorial page, the first article, the necessity of electricity distribution companies. We'll see this particular article with respect to the examination. A pragmatic approach for better India and Nepal ties. We'll see this particular article also for the examination. Unwavering focus. This particular article talks about the recent monetary policy committee that has issued its recent monetary policy committee report. We'll take this article also. Then guys, further moving on with Donald Trump's indictment, the US polity will see further polarization. The article doesn't contain much of the substance for the examination, so no need to go too much in detail in this. Then further moving on, coming to the next page, that is the ground zero, tragedy on the tracks. Now this particular article talks about the recent accident that has happened in the Odisha. Now guys, this is a ground zero article. In ground zero article, the details, or basically the what actually happened on the ground, how many people got injured, all these things are actually provided. Okay, for the exam point of view, much important substance is not there in this particular article, so I'll not suggest you to go too much in detail. Okay, so basic details, how many people got injured, how many people died, and all these things have been provided. Then moving on, after that, coming to the next page, here largely the political articles, etc. have been given, which are not important for the examination. Okay, fine. So guys, we will be moving on. Here we have one article, railways renews push for safety training. We'll see this particular article for the examination. Then after that, here we have one article, piped potable water across India will avert 4 lakh deaths. We'll see this particular article also for the examination. Then guys, further here two academicians ask NCERT to drop their names as advisor. Nothing important. Arunachal anti-poaching camp destroyed by mob. Nothing is important in this particular direction. One thing I want to tell you guys, that today is Saturday, and on Saturday we don't have the text and context page, so that is not there. Then coming to the world page, Trump charged with 37 counts in classified document case. Okay, guys, you are not required to go and track this particular article too much. So there was an allegation that was made on to the Donald Trump that he has taken some classified documents from the White House after the tenure ended. Okay, so he have been charged on 37 counts on this direction. Nothing is important. Right, Australia seeking to stabilize, not normalize the relations with the China. So guys, we see this particular thing, that Australia, it is the member of the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, which is a grouping led by the USA, which has been created deliberately to contain the China. Okay, now because of Australia, which has become the part of the Quad, relations between the China and Australia have declined a lot. Now basically Australia simply says this thing, that we are seeking to normalize we are seeking to stabilize the relations so that more problems, confrontations don't come. But there is nothing to normalize the relations. Fine, the relations will not go as they were earlier. Then further moving on, coming to the business page, government to clarify TCS on the foreign spends. So basically the 20% TCS application was imposed. Now the government is rethinking that. But understand this thing guys, that you are not required to go too much in detail in these particular norms, that okay, how much limit has been increased, how much limit has been decreased. Such kind of aspects are not actually asked in the examinations. Fine. Then domestic GDP growth is on a firm footing. There is one article in this particular line, we will take it up. Then after that, HDFC Bank to keep focus on home loans post merger. Largely the corporate trends are there. Then we have this sports page, and today as it is Saturday, so the science page also that comes towards the last, that science page has not come. Okay, so this is all about the overview, and now guys, let's discuss all the relevant articles one by one in the detail. Now starting up, so in every class we start with the GS quotation. So today we'll take the quotation from the Thomas Paine. So Thomas Paine says this, that whatever is the right as a man is also the right of another, and it becomes my duty to guarantee as well as to possess. whatever is the right as a man, okay, whatever my rights, that same rights should be enjoyed by the other people also. So as a man, it is my duty, it is my responsibility that it is my duty that I exercise my right, I possess my right, and I also should be creating such conditions that the others' rights, they should also possess them, they should also be able to use that. Okay, so my guarantee is that, okay, that I will not temper the rights of the other people. Often what happens when we try to exercise our rights, other people's rights are contradicted. For example, your absolute right for the speech and expression might impact the other person's right to reputation. You might say certain unsubstantiated facts about the person which might temper that person's reputation. So your rights should not come in contradiction with other person's rights. You possess your rights, but at the same time also create the condition that the other people's rights are also guaranteed. So that is all, guys, about this particular GS quotation. And now let's discuss the first article for the today. Okay, so guys, here the first article that we are going to take is economy on autopilot won't overheat for years. And then there is this article that is the unwavering focus. Okay, so both of these particular article, guys, will see with respect to the GS paper number 3 issues related to the Indian economy. GS paper number 3 is issues related to the Indian economy. Now guys, there might be a little bit echo that might be coming in the video. It is because I am sitting in an empty class, so because of that there might be an echo. Please bear with that. In the next session I will try to even think that what we can do of this also. Okay, now starting up. So basically, guys, here there are the two developments that have happened. Development number 1 is with respect to the inflation control, and development number 2 is with respect to the growth outlook with respect to the Indian economy. Now, first of all, guys, when we talk about the inflation in the context of India, understand this particular thing, that to control the inflation in India, we have the inflation targeting. What is inflation targeting? So Urjit Patel committee recommended this particular thing, that we need to target that inflation should stay in a particular range, in a particular band, that is 4% plus minus 2%. 4% plus minus 2%. That is, inflation should stay in the range of 2% to 6%, minimum 2% and maximum 6%. And to enforce this particular range of inflation, the Monetary Policy Committee, which is the committee of the 6 members, it is given this particular task. Now, the Monetary Policy Committee is headed by the RBI chief. Now, recently what has happened, the Monetary Policy Committee has come out with their latest report. Now, guys, understand this particular thing. First of all, you need to understand some of the basic things. Basically, inflation right now has become a very big challenge for the entire world. For example, when we talk about the USA in 2022 has seen the worst inflation in the last 45 years. There are many factors which are leading to the inflation right now. Let's see these particular factors. Now, first of all, the factor leading to the inflation is the geopolitical factor. Now, in the context of the geopolitical factor, we see this particular thing, that there is the Russia-Ukraine war that is going on. After that, we have seen that basically the USA and China confrontations are going on. China is the major supplier of the many of the commodities, and with this increasing confrontation with the USA and China, again the uncertainties have increased. Then the international commodity prices have increased, and as the international commodity prices will increase, obviously it will drive the inflation. The prices of sugar, rice, even the price of the crude oil in the international markets have increased. Now, understand this particular thing, guys. The transportation of the goods will happen through the trucks, will be happening through the trucks or other ways of the transportation, but all depend largely on the crude oil. Planes depend on the crude oil, ships depend on the crude oil, okay, or the basically fuel. So basically, when the prices of these particular commodity will increase, geopolitical uncertainty will be there in the world, global inflation will increase, and as global inflation will increase, the impact on Indian economy would also be there. And we see this particular thing, guys, that as the COVID have started to ease, we have not been able to control the inflation. So basically, guys, since the 2021, Okay, just a minute. So since 2021, January 2021, inflation has not been able to stay at the goal of 4%. It has been going up and up and up. Now understand this particular thing, guys, that whenever the inflation increases in an economy, what the country the country goes for the tight monetary policy. In the tight monetary policy, what they will do, they will suck out the liquidity from the market. Because if there will be not enough liquidity in the market, people will not be able to pay. Okay, people would not be able to pay higher prices for the same goods, and the inflation will come down. Now guys, over the past few months, we have seen that the Reserve Bank of India had went for the tight monetary policy, where they have increased the repo rate, where they have increased the benchmark rates. Now as this tight monetary policy have been there, understand this particular thing, guys, that always the tight monetary policy, in the tight monetary policy, government will be increasing the repo rate. As government will increasing the repo rate, taking credit will become expensive, and when the credit will become expensive, the industrial expansion cannot happen, because for the industrial expansion, the entrepreneurs will need the credit, and the credit is expensive. So inflation control will always be coming at the cost of growth reduction that will happen in an economy. Right now we are in this particular kind of a confusion only, that if we further go for the inflation control, growth will be impacted, and if we focus on growth, then we need to loosen up our monetary policy. Credit will become cheaper, more credit will become cheaper, fine, liquidity will come in market, that liquidity will bring the inflation. Now this dilemma was there, and the Reserve Bank of India has now decided that we will be keep on focusing on the inflation only. So in the last few months, what has happened, basically the repo rate has been increased, tight monetary policy have been followed. So the Reserve Bank of India will extend the pause in the Reserve Bank of India's monetary tightening. So this point, it was expected that for a very long period of time the tight monetary policy would be relaxed, but it is not being relaxed. The same stand has been continued. So the Reserve Bank of India, the Monetary Policy Committee, has given a very clear point that right now the inflation is their topmost priority. Now further, the Reserve Bank of India the Monetary Policy Committee has also provided this particular thing, that the inflation for next 12 months will still be high. It will be in the range of 5.1% over the last 12 months till 2024. Now basically, though it is above the 4%, which is the most optimum level, but still guys, it is within the band of 2 to 6%. Fine, it is within the band of 2 to 6%, though above than 4%, but still it is acceptable. Now the reasons that might impact the inflation, we have seen that all the international reasons, but guys, in the context of India, there will also be the distribution of rainfall, the performance of the monsoons, that will be impacting the inflation. So we are finding this particular thing, that how the spatio and temporal distribution of monsoon would be. For example, there can be certain areas which might receive excess rain, certain areas which might receive less rain. Moreover, the rains might not be evenly distributed over the entire duration of the monsoon, but there could be the rains, then there could be the dry spell, then again there could be the rain. So basically, if erratic rainfalls are there, if rainfall only in certain areas would be there, agriculture production would be impacted, because guys, still 60% of India's area is rain fed, is practicing the rain fed agriculture. Rain fed agriculture means that they don't have the irrigation facilities of them, they depend on to the monsoons. So basically, if the rainfall is erratic, it might be impacting. Then guys, further understand this particular thing, that El Nino is also being predicted this particular year, but it has been said that El Nino, though it is being predicted, but basically Indian Ocean dipole will cancel that out. Now we have discussed also the Indian Ocean dipole, that when there will be the positive Indian Ocean dipole, it will bring good rain. So positive Indian Ocean dipole will good rain, El Nino might bring the less rain, both will cancel each other, so the rains will not be impacted that much. But still, it is too soon to predict. We need to see that particular thing. Okay, so this is guys, that is something that has happening. So therefore, the Reserve Bank of India is keeping up the guard, and it is following the tight monetary policy, so that there is no leniency. Then guys, further moving on in this particular direction, because the tight monetary policy is there. We also have recently got the bank credit data. Bank credit data means that how much loans are being given, how much loan inquiries are there. So we find this particular thing, that the pace of the growth in the loans to the industry, it has went down, it has come down, it has slowed appreciably in the last year. It is because of the expensive credit that is being given due to the tight monetary policy. So growth is getting compromised, but still guys, we right now need to focus more on inflation. Okay, but as we talk about the growth, there is one positive news that has come in this particular direction. Let's understand this particular positive news. So basically guys, if you see here, the chief economic advisor had said this particular thing, that the economy is on autopilot, won't overheat for few years. What the chief economic advisor is saying? Chief economic advisor is saying this particular thing, that now the Indian economy has entered a phase where the China has entered. Now guys, tell me, let me tell you. So 1979 to 2008, this was the period when the Chinese economy grew continuously for the 1978-9 to 2010. Continuously the Chinese economy grew. Now the Indian economy has a lot of untapped potential, and that entire untapped potential will now be used, and for next 10 to 15 years, Indian economy could grow without any stoppage, without any obstruction, and at least till 2030, Indian economy could grow in the range of 6.5 to 7% without we doing anything, without any further reforms. However, if we bring some kind of a reforms, Indian economy would do even better. Okay, for example, if we bring some reforms in the skilling sector, if we bring the reforms in the manufacturing sector, the Indian economy will grow even better. That is at the range of the 7.5% to 8%. Okay, so unresolved problems that are there, fine. If we resolve those problems, these unresolved problems are the low hanging fruits. That is, if we resolve them, then a better growth will come, and now India might grow like China did in 1979 to 2008. So growth of Indian economy will anyhow be coming. This is a positive outlook that has been shared by the Reserve Bank of India, by the Chief Economic Advisor. So that is all guys about this particular article. Now moving to the next article. Piped potable water across India will avoid 4 lakh diarrhea deaths, finds WHO. Now, basically guys, see this particular thing, that as we talk about this article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2, issues related to the social justice. Now, basically guys, the piped drinking water is the basic necessity, and many of the people were not able to avail the clean drinking water, because of which many people are dying by the diseases such as diarrhea, many of the waterborne, many of the problems such as the dysentery, etc. They are still taking so many of the lives in India. So a very cost effective intervention is to provide the clean drinking water, and for that particular thing, Government of India is already running the Jal Jeevan Mission. This Jal Jeevan Mission by 2024 will provide the piped water connection to every household. So functional household tap water connection will be provided by 2024. Now, basically it has been provided. Basically, when we talk about this particular plan, outlay that the government has given is around 3.6 trillion rupees, one of the biggest plan for the piped drinking water availability in India. Now, if this particular plan becomes successful, then now there is a study that has been released by the WHO, World Health Organization, which was commissioned by the Jal Shakti Ministry. It has been said that if Government of India successfully delivered it, then 4 lakh deaths will be avoided. Not only the deaths would be avoided, but also it will be increasing the efficiency of the people. How? Guys, understand this particular thing, that today many of the women, they have to go many kilometers just to fetch the water, and it is wasting lot of their productive work hours. And if we provide the water them in the homes, those particular time that has been wasted, it will not happen. Moreover, because of the waterborne diseases, many of the children also, they develop many complications early in the life. Okay, so basically what is happening, because of the clean water availability, 14 million DALY, that is disability adjusted life years would be saved. $101 billion $101 billion would be saved. How these $101 billion would be saved? Understand this particular thing. Number one, if you provide the piped drinking water, people will not fall ill. And if they will not fall ill, you don't need to spend money on their health. Secondly, as they will not fall ill, they will be able to go work. As they will be able to go to work, they will earn some income, that money. Thirdly, women who are not able to become the part of the workforce because they have to fetch water every day, these women can become the part of the workforce. So from there also an economic advantage will come. So by total $101 billion of advantage will come to the India. Fine. Then secondly guys, understand this particular thing. 66.6 million hours, 66.6 million hours of the time would also be saved, which could have been just wasted. One more thing guys, in this particular direction, understand this thing, that we also say this thing, that 14 million disability adjusted life years would be saved. This much, 14 million disability adjusted life years would be saved. Guys, just give me 1 second. My computer is running out of battery. Let me arrange for that. Give me just one second. 1 second. Okay guys, I hope that the voice is clear now. Okay, so guys, sorry for this issue that came in between. Okay, now, so we see this particular thing, okay, that by investing adequately on the water, by providing the clean drinking water, how we will be able to save $101 billion, how we will be able to save 66 million hours every day. 66.6 million hours we would be saved every day. Moreover, 14 million disability adjusted life years. This is the time which the people would have spent because of the illness, because of the disabilities that are coming because of the lack of the clean drinking water. How these particular things would be saved. Okay, then further guys, so what DALY represents? It represents the loss of equivalent of 1 year of full health and are a way to account for the years of life lost due to premature mortality. Guys, when we talk about the child mortality, fine, basically the number of children dying below the 5 years, basically there are the two reasons why so many of the children die in India. Number one, because of the proper sanitation is not there, and number two, because the food is not there. Now the food government is being provided under the National Food Security Act, and basically under the sanitation, non-availability of clean drinking water is a major reason which will be now be solved by the Jal Jeevan mission that the government is bringing. Then guys, further moving on, actually this Jal Jeevan mission has been quite successful in the past few years. For example, the Jal Jeevan mission, so in 2009 2019, there was 3.2 crore household water connections that were there in India, that is around 16.6%. But today, if we see the progress, around 12.3 crore rural households, or around 62% of the rural households, they have the piped drinking water connection. So from 16% we have reached to 62%, and government is aiming that by 2024 100% coverage will be provided. Every household, rural household particularly, will be having the piped water connection. Now when we talk about the piped water connection, it doesn't just simply means that giving them the connection, but also it means that there should be at least 55 liter of per capita per day potable water that is to be provided. Per person 55 liters of water every day is to be provided. Then only it will be meant as a functional household connection, tap household connection. Now when we talk about in this particular direction, certain states are doing some really good work. For example, in the states of Gujarat, Telangana, Haryana, Goa, Haryana, okay, Punjab and 3 other union territories, they have reported 100% coverage. All the households, they have been provided the tapped water connection. Further, the government is right now working at a very fast speed, and every second one piped basically one water connection is being provided. Now guys, here there is also one very good data given by the Department of Water and Sanitation, and the Department of Water and Sanitation says this particular thing, that every $1 if is being invested in the sanitation intervention, for example providing the toilet to the people, providing the clean drinking water to the people, it gives $4.3 return. So 4x returns can be availed. Fine. So $1 invested, $4.3 worth of benefit will be provided. So government should keep on focusing on such kind of interventions. A very good development. So that is all guys about it. So you give the reference of the WHO study in this particular direction. So that is all about it. I hope that you have understood it, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Railways renews push for safety training among staff. Railways renews push for safety training among staff. So basically guys, recently we have seen this particular thing, that a devastating train accident occurred in Odisha. In this particular direction, we have seen that the 3 of the trains, Shalimar Chennai Coromandel Express, Yeshwantpur Havda Express, and a goods train, they got collided, and in that more than 290 people, they have died also, okay, and nearly 900 people have got injured. So because of this particular thing, now we need to focus on the railway safety reforms. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that whenever we talk about the railways, the reforms in the railways should be focused largely on the 3 areas. Number 1, the reforms in the railways need to be focused on efficiency, because we see that there are a lot of delays in running of the trains, okay. After that particular thing, we see that still we need to deploy more high speed, semi high speed trains. So efficiency is needed to be increased. Then secondly, we need to focus that the safety is also important. Now when we talk about the safety, understand this particular thing. Safety such as the train collisions should not be there. That is something that needs to be focused upon. Secondly, the safety of the staff, safety of the passengers also is equally important. Fine. Okay, so the next we find this particular thing, that the safety is a very big concern. Number 1, the train accidents, train collisions, etc. that are happening, they should not happen. Secondly guys, the passengers safety, we see that there are the thefts within the train that have happened many number of times. Women have also faced the physical as well as sexual assaults while traveling. So safety is one concern. And then there is the third concern that is to be focused upon is on the user experience. So from the ticketing to travel, through confirmation of your train, while you travel in the train, whether you have the clean toilets or not, whether you have the clean linens, beddings or not. All these things add up in the user experience. So on these three factors, the railways need an urgent reform. Railways need an urgent reform. Now safety is the biggest priority now because of this railway accident that has happened, and in this particular direction railway has decided to take certain steps. What steps they have taken up? Number one step that they have taken up in this particular direction is that what railway has said, railway has provided this particular thing, that they will be coming out with a system of periodic counseling, for the train managers, section controllers, and will nudge them with respect to their duties and responsibilities. Now one more thing I want to tell you guys here in this particular direction is that maximum of the train accidents that happened, or any type of accident that they happen because of the human error. So basically human error is to be reduced, human error is to be avoided, and therefore the train managers, section controllers, they will be educated with respect to their duties, with respect to their responsibilities. Further in this particular direction guys, also it has been provided that there will be senior train managers, section controllers who have adequate knowledge with respect to the best practices in safe train operation. Okay, they will be nominated and they will be used to train the other train managers, section controllers, that what they can do to bring more alertness, what they can do to ensure that these human errors don't happen. All those particular things would be taken up. Then guys, further moving on in this particular direction, okay, so the focus would be on enhancing the alertness, focus would be on enhancing the proper compliance with respect to all the norms and the rules with respect to the safety that are there. And there is also this one more step that has been taken up by the Madurai division of the Southern Railways. They have banned the use of the smart watches by the loco running staff, because many number of times by using the smart watches, the alertness, it dips, people, their attention gets diverted because of constant looking onto the smart watch and all such kind of a thing. So they have been banned while they are on their duty. So this is something that has happened in this particular direction. Guys, I hope that you have understood it. And now we'll be moving to the next article. A pragmatic approach for the better India-Nepal relations. A pragmatic approach for the better India-Nepal relations. We'll see this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 2 international relation. GS paper number 2 international relations, India-Nepal relation. Now, so basically recently what has happened, Nepal's Prime Minister has visited the India, and as he has visited India, there are some of the very important agreements that have been signed which are important for further taking up the India-Nepal relations. Now guys, as we talk about the India-Nepal relations, both the countries, that is the India and Nepal, they share the roti beti ka rishta. Roti beti ka rishta means that India Nepal has economic ties. Okay, many of the Nepali citizens, they come to India for finding the jobs, for employment opportunities, and beti means the matrimonial alliances that are there between the people of India and Nepal, particularly the Terai region of Nepal and the Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. So matrimonial ties are very much deep. So because of that, the India Nepal have a deep relation. Moreover, in 1950 India Nepal Treaty of Friendship was also signed, and after this Treaty of Friendship there is even more cooperation between the India Nepal relations that have come. But guys, understand this thing, since 2019-20 the relations between the India Nepal, they have started to dip. Why the relations they have started to dip? There are many reasons for this particular thing. For example, the Kala Pani dispute. So Kala Pani is the region that India claims that is the part of the Uttarakhand. Nepal says that the Kala Pani, Limpiadhura, these are the regions which are the part of the Nepal. What happened? Nepal issued a new map of Nepal, and in which this Kala Pani, Limpiadhura, they were shown as the part of the Nepal's territory. Because of this particular thing, the relations got dipped between the India, Nepal. Then guys, moreover, we see this particular thing that the Nepal has drifted more and more near to the China. Now, basically today we see that the Nepal plays a buffer between India and China, and in any capacity, if the Nepal will go more near to the China, then the security concerns of India would be impacted. So therefore Nepal has drifted near to the China, because of which the relations have also got impacted. And in order to revive the relations, now what has happened, the Nepalese Prime Minister has a particular visit. There are some of the important agreements, important developments that have come. Let's discuss them one by one. So basically guys, when we talk about this particular visit, this visit was important on many fronts. For example, political, economical, trade, energy, security and developmental cooperation have been largely discussed here. Let's discuss one by one that what are the important initiatives that have been taken here. Number one, the real priorities, the game changer priorities, fine, have been taken up, which can further enhance the relation between the India and Nepal. First of all guys, understand this particular thing, that hydropower cooperation between the India and Nepal has been taken up. In this particular capacity guys, understand this particular thing, that basically on hydropower there are the two types of cooperations that are there. Number one, basically Nepal wants to export the electricity to the Bangladesh. Now as Nepal wants to export the electricity to the Bangladesh, direct access of Nepal and Bangladesh might not be possible. So therefore the electricity would be transited from the India. Now so Nepal's electricity, if it has to reach to the Bangladesh, India has to provide the transit. For this Nepal needs India. Secondly guys, when we talk about the Nepal being the Himalayan region, there are many of the fast flowing rivers in the Nepal, and these particular rivers have the potential that the hydropower plants could be constructed on that, and the electricity that will be generated, that particular electricity could be supplied for the India for the consumption. Now already understand this particular thing, that basically India has taken the target to become the carbon neutral by 2070. Okay, we need to increase the share of renewable energy, and in the immediate term by 2030 we have taken a target that 50% of India's electricity will be coming from the renewable energy. So therefore Nepal's hydroelectricity is something which India can use. So what India is doing, India will be providing the financial support to the Nepal for construction of the hydropower plants in the Nepal. Then the electricity will be exported to the India, which India will purchase from the Nepal. So hydropower cooperation between the India and Nepal is actually a game changer. Okay, so basically the hydropower electricity supply to India and then to Bangladesh. Then guys, we also have discussed on to the infrastructure. Okay, now let me tell you what was discussed into the infrastructure. By the way, we have discussed this particular article earlier also. If you remember, we have discussed this particular article earlier also. So basically guys, India will be providing the access to the Nepal to the waterways of India. Now guys, we in India have 111 waterways. Originally we have 6 waterways, then we declared 105 more waterways also. Today we have 111 waterways. Now Nepal's problem is that Nepal is a landlocked country, and Nepal, if they want to export something, if they want to import something, they don't have their own port. So they depend on the port of the India. Now so therefore reaching the Indian ports, the Nepal will be provided the Indian waterways. So this is the basically Indian river transport that we have come out on a cooperation. Tourism circuits. Now in tourism circuits guys, already we have discussed, and I will tell you, though not mentioned in this article, Ramayan circuit. Okay, there is the Ramayan circuit. So what is the Ramayan circuit? Ramayan circuit is the part of the Swadesh Darshan scheme. Ramayan circuit is the part of the Swadesh Darshan scheme, under which India is developing the theme-based tourist circuit. And Ramayan circuit is a theme-based tourist circuit where all the places that were important with that are important or that are related to with the life of the Lord Ram, all those places will be connected through a train journey. And in this particular direction there is a place, Janakpur, which is in Nepal. So the Janakpur in the Nepal will be connected through within the Ramayan circuit. So for that particular thing, tourism circuits are also being created. Fine connectivity projects, infrastructure projects, India has also approved for the Nepal. Now when we talk about India Nepal, I told you that hydropower cooperation is very important, and on the hydropower cooperation there was the Mahakali treaty. There was the Mahakali treaty that was signed, for developing making for producing the hydroelectric power from the Mahakali river. Now basically, as a part of the Mahakali treaty, there is the Pancheshwar multi-purpose project, fine, that is also to be deployed. Okay, so power stations will be developed on the river on the both sides. Now this Mahakali treaty, it is a treaty which has been signed between the India and Nepal, and it is a treaty where the cross party consensus was reached. All the parties, political parties, they have supported this particular treaty. Now guys, further moving on, so we have seen that a new dimension of hydropower cooperation, a trilateral hydropower cooperation, that is between India, Nepal, Bangladesh, is also coming in the place. Now further guys, also India has provided that we will be helping to provide the digital financial connectivity to the Nepal. Now you know guys, if you know, the ease of money transfer in India is the most effective in the entire world, particularly because of the UPI Bheem, UPI architecture that has been prepared by the NPCI, that is the National Payment Corporation of India. So recently the memorandum of understanding has been signed between the National Payment Corporation of India and the Nepal Clearing House, and basically the cross-border digital payments facilitation will be provided. Moreover, India has also offered to provide the South Asian satellite to Nepal, and the South Asian satellites access to the Nepal will help Nepal for their space sector. It will help Nepal in the space sector. It will provide them space technology applications, telecommunication, broadcasting, telemedicine, teleeducation, e-governance, banking, ATM services. All these things which need the robust connectivity, they can be helped through providing the South Asian satellites accessibility to the Nepal. Now, as we have seen that there are so many of the cooperations that have been signed, but then there are certain things that have to be addressed immediately by both the India and Nepal. First of all, Nepal has to depoliticize the cooperation with the India. Okay, so basically we have seen that the politicization between India and Nepal relations have come a lot, particularly the political parties in Nepal. Whenever the political cooperation with India or any agreement that have been signed, they have made it as a political issue, particularly when the water resource cooperation, governance, all these issues are talked about. So this has become a political issue, so such undue politicization should not happen. And secondly, basically for India, we need to address the perception in Nepal that it is no longer a foreign policy priority. Now see this thing, Nepal, we have a special relation with Nepal. We need to realize Nepal that we don't treat Nepal as a foreign country, rather we treat Nepal as our own. Okay, this is something that we need to focus upon. So that is all guys about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next article. Moving to the next article, the necessity of electricity distribution companies. Now we'll see this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 3, infrastructure. GS paper number 3, infrastructure. Within the infrastructure, the electricity sector will take this particular article. Now let's discuss what the article is actually talking about. So basically guys, the article is talking about that some of the reforms in the electricity sector that are needed, and a more privatization in electricity sector would be counterproductive. Let's see that what the article is actually talking. Let's discuss some of the basic information. So basically guys, when we talk about the electricity in India, so to control the electricity sector, we have the Electricity Act of 2003. Now this Electricity Act of 2003 is an act of Parliament. This particular act covers the areas such as the electricity generation, electricity distribution, electricity transmission, electricity trade in power. Now you have the electricity in your homes, you are buying it from distribution companies procure electricity from the generation companies. So the trade, it aims to promote the competition, it aims to protect the consumer interest, supply of electricity to all these things have been provided in the Electricity Act of 2003, which is the major law governing the electricity sector in India. Now, we see this particular thing, guys, that in the last few years, electricity generation in India has improved quite impressively. Moreover, in the last few years, there is a lot of growth in the renewable power that have also happened, particularly because of the private investment that has come. Fine, for example, Reliance, Tata's, they have invested huge into the power plants, thermal power plants even. Moreover, the private investments have also come, particularly in the renewable sector. And as we talk about the renewable sector, the renewable private sectors, the solar power plants have actually gained so much of importance in the last few years. Now, guys, understand this particular thing, that see how the process happens. Let me explain you this particular thing. There will be the Genco means the electricity generation company. Electricity generator will be actually be manufacturing electricity either by burning the coal or by solar power panels. Then the generation company will sell the electricity to the discom means the distribution company. Then the distribution company will provide the electricity to the households. It will provide the electricity to the households, to the residential units, okay, to all other places. Now, basically, guys, the generator companies will sell the electricity to the distribution companies, and we see this particular thing, that the generation companies selling electricity to distribution companies, it happens through the competitive bidding. For example, the electricity producer who will provide the most cheapest electricity, that will be bought by the distribution company. It happens through the bidding. Now, because of the bidding, we see this particular thing. India today has the cheapest rate for the solar power in the world. The solar power, first of all, is promoted by the National Solar Mission. Government has given a lot of subsidy, and because of this competitive bidding, today the generator companies, they are able to provide the most cheapest electricity to the distribution company. Then distribution company provide that cheap electricity to the customer, and at the end of the day, it is the customer who gets the benefit. Now, the article is talking about that how the process goes on in UK. So basically, in UK, there is a mandatory power pool. That is created. What is this mandatory power pool? So basically, guys, the different generators in the UK who are generating the electricity, they will be submitting their bid. To the electricity distribution company. For example, at what price and how much unit of electricity we can provide. The price, for example, at £1 we can provide this much electricity. Okay, so the price and the number of unit of electricity that they can provide, this particular offering is given by the electricity generation company. Okay, then what happens? All these particular bids, they are stacked in ascending order of price. Okay, fine. So in an ascending order of price, they are stacked. Okay, big, small. Okay, so small, big, like this. Ascending order, it is stacked. Now, guys, understand this particular thing. A particular price and a particular quantity at which the total demand could be met, it becomes the pool price for electricity. Okay, the total price and now that price at which the entire electricity could be given by any generator, that becomes the price. Now, this is something, guys, that happens. Further, in UK, there is also the retail competition that is there. See, consumers could choose the supplier from which you want electricity. See, today, guys, we in India don't have the choice to choose our distribution company, to choose the supplier. Fine, you have only one option, that this is the electricity supplier in your locality. You have to choose that. But in UK, there are the different suppliers, and the consumers can choose any one of them. Now, further moving on, guys, in this particular direction in India, when we talk about India, in India, the power is supplied through the individual power plants. Okay, now understand this particular thing. Basically, if a power plant is new, that particular power plant, while selling the electricity to the distribution company, have to recover two type of cost. Number one, the capital cost. See, a new power plant has invested into the plant. Okay, they have invested into the plant. So the money that they have invested in construction of the plant, that cost is to be recovered. Second is the cost of generation, the cost of electricity generation. Suppose they are burning the coal. So the money that they have spent in procuring the coal, the process, the money spent in that. So cost of generation and the cost of capital expenditure that they have done, they will be acquired by the new power plants. Now see this thing. On another hand, there are the old power plants. Now the old power plants, they have actually recovered their capital cost, the cost of their plant, fine from last so many of the years, and now this cost of capital is very much less. This cost of capital is very much less. Only cost that they will be procuring from the distribution company, it is the cost of generation. So the electricity by the old power plant will be cheaper. Why? Because they are just procuring the generation money. The capital expenditure they have already incurred into the last 20-25 years. So they might not be recovering this. They are just taking the money of the generation from the distribution company. So therefore guys, the older the plant in India, the cheaper will be its electricity. The older the plant in India, the cheaper will be its electricity. Now guys, if in India we adopt the free market model, there might be the possibility that the new power plants, okay, now understand this thing. See, just a minute, let me erase. So the article is saying that if we adopt the free market power pool model that is in the UK, in UK what happens? You will basically the price at which all the electricity could be procured, that particular price will become the pool price. If we adopt that particular mechanism in India, actually what would happen, the electricity prices will go up, because the new power plant, understand this thing now very carefully, the new electricity power plant, they are more efficient, they can provide more electricity, but at the same time the electricity is costly. Okay, so in UK what happens, the power pool price, what is the power pool price? Basically the generation company which can sell all the electricity that is needed, that company's price becomes the pool price. In India, the new plants are more efficient, and these new plants which are more efficient might be able to meet the need of one entire region. Okay, and as they are more efficient, can have more efficiency, can meet the demands of a particular region. Okay, they will be chosen. But new power plants, they produce costly electricity because they also recover the capital cost. So at the end of the day, it will not be beneficial for India. Clear? So guys, I hope that you understood this particular thing. So that is all guys about it, and now we'll be moving to the next article. The main practice question for today. So the question is, the Prime Minister of Nepal and India have shown a pragmatic approach and mutual sensitivity that can re-energize bilateral relation. Discuss the statement in the context of recent development between India and Nepal. Okay, so that is all guys about it. And guys, just one thing I want to address. There is this question, sir, please be regular. Guys, I have written one message on Telegram also. Even today I am making this video in the class, and you have seen so much of disturbance has happened in between. Sometimes somebody is coming to clean the classroom, then there are other issues, then I have a class also after this particular session. And why I am recording it in the class today, it is because that internet was very much erratic at the place where I was living. Point is that internet speed fluctuates, okay, and the maximum internet speed that I was getting there was around 12-13 Mbps. Now 12-13 Mbps is a fine speed, but for streaming we need at least 90 to 100 Mbps of speed, and for uploading video also that was a very big problem, because the video that we record, it goes to at least 3.5 GB. Okay, so all the problems. So I have come right at 7 o'clock in the institute here just to record the video. So please trust this particular thing, that I am, whatever is in there in my control, I am doing it every day to ensure that video is being uploaded on the time and is being uploaded regularly. Okay, so trust that particular thing. If the video is getting late or if video is not coming, it is because that the situation was not fine. Even if there would have been 0.5% possibility, you would have got the video. So understand all these issues that are there. Okay, now guys, we come to an end, and now we'll be meeting on Monday. You know that on Sunday we keep a day for revision. Now we'll be meeting on Monday. Till then, please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much.